We got monsters, skyscrapers, eighth graders, Tom Cruise on buildings, and a giveaway for Hotel Transylvania. You really don't want to miss that. Stay tuned.
Then suddenly, to my surprise,
Here's the mash. Hey.
he did the monster
Hello,
mash.
hello,
Monster
hello. It's the Monster Mash here with episode 21 of Black Tomatoes. We have my boy Scott Menzel back, and yeah,
I'm
it's
back.
off and cracking.
I'm
He's
back.
So
But they had so much fun without me last week. I mean, come on. Anyone who watched this show, you're probably like, wow, really a nice mix-up. There you go.
okay, so to be fair, he's like my best friend, and so that's how we kick it all the time. But you know, we had cocktails, and I would have brought you cocktails today, but I wasn't sure whether or not you drank, and we discussed off camera that you do. So next week, well, not next week, but week after next, when you come back, we'll have some cocktails.
Yeah. Can we get some like real cocktails? Can
Yeah,
we
of
do
course.
like Long Island iced teas and
You know
stuff
what? I'll
like
make
that?
you a blobby. Do you know what a blobby is?
No.
I'll make you a blobby.
Okay, sounds
It's
good.
really good. It's really good.
Okay.
So, hi. I am your host, Carla Renata. And my co-host here is Scott Menzel. Hey, Scott.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, I'm
Hey,
back.
hey,
Hey,
he's back.
hey,
Hey.
Fonz is back.
So, I just want to pop into some really quick news before
Sure.
we get started with the reviews. Lots of stuff.
Oh my God, so much
There's
stuff
so
all the
much
time.
stuff happening this week. So, the first thing I want to address is that Tab Hunter, the Hollywood hunky movie star, he passed away at the age of 86. So we want to say rest in peace to him. He was best known for
Absolutely.
Damn Yankees with Gwen Verdon, and that was a really big film for him. A24's Eighth Grade, which we'll be talking about today, has already grossed $63,000, and it's not even playing in every cinema.
No.
So for an indie film, that's huge. The one that came underneath that, Hotel Transylvania, swam right past Skyscraper with $40 million. Boots Riley's and Annapurna's Sorry to Bother You made an impressive $4.25 million. And Boots is signed to create content for Media Res. So that's some really good news. The Whitney documentary made $2.35 million. And in casting news, Idris Elba, my boy, is set to play the villain in the next Fast and Furious spinoff starring Dwayne Johnson, who we're also going to talk about today with Skyscraper. Apple TV, we haven't talked about this, but
No.
Apple is starting a TV network where they are going to have streaming content like Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, and all the other ones. And they are doing a thriller drama called Are You Sleeping that was created by Nichelle Tramble-Shellman based on Kathleen Barber's true crime novels. And they just added Tammy Roman from the Housewife franchise, Annabella Sciorra, who we know from a bunch of films, mainly The Hand That Rocked the Cradle. I love that. I love that movie. Molly Gagnon, Nick Bishop, and it's already starring Octavia Spencer and Lizzie Kaplan. So this,
very
this
nice.
sounds like it's going to be a good drama. Our good friend Oscar winner Gary Oldman and Jessica Alba are set to star in a thriller called Killers Anonymous, directed by Martin Owen.
Weird casting, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Curb Your Enthusiasm's J.B. Smoove has just joined the cast of Spider-Man Far From Home, which is currently shooting in London with my little baby girl, Zendaya. Ava DuVernay's Central Park 5 cast Michael K. Williams and Vera Farmiga and John Leguizamo for a Netflix limited series. Yay! That's gonna be good too.
Yes.
Jeremy Renner joins Jamie Foxx and Todd McFarlane's Blumhouse pick Spawn, and Dude Winston Duke from Black Panther. He is jumping in cage as MMA fighter Kimbo Slice in Backyard Legend. I have no idea what Backyard Legend is, but it just is fun to say.
Just as good as mine.
I know. I told you there's a lot of news.
Yeah.
Justin Simeon, the creator of Dear White People on the big screen and the small screen, has just signed a deal with Lionsgate TV to create more content, and so has Yvette Lee Bowser, who also created not Girlfriends, but Living Single.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so that's going to be great. Queen Latifah's Flavor Unit partnered up with the Essence Creators and Makers Fund in an effort to create more opportunities and financing for people of color regarding development and production of projects, which that's awesome. The fact that she has time to do anything in the wake of her mom passing away is just, I mean, big ups, my queen. Maven Pictures optioned the rights to a biography, you'll love this, from Mary Sames, the daughter of Clementine Churchill, and they're gonna write a feature film based on her life.
Oh.
And it's written by Emmy winner Margaret Nagle has been snatched to adapt that. That is all the news. That's a lot
of news.
Wasn't that a lot of news?
Oh my God, that was a lot of news. The thing I wanted to comment on is I'm so glad that people are already figuring out that Boots Riley has so much talent. You know, this movie's only been out for 2 weeks, and for him to have another deal already in the works,
But you know
kudos to
what?
him.
But you know what's really interesting about that? There's like this Oakland, California renaissance happening right now.
Oh, my
Boots
God,
Riley
I
was Sorry to
know.
Bother You. There's Blind Spotting with Daveed Diggs and Raphael. And I'm just like, ooh, Oakland is kind of coming
Yeah.
up right now and telling
And it
their
was
own
in Black
story.
Panther too.
Yep. So it's a lot going on for Oakland, California. And the other thing about Boots is that he's very active on social media.
Oh, yeah.
He's very, very present. He answers almost everybody that says anything about him, that mentions him, tags him, anything. He's very, very vocal on social media. So I'm pretty sure that has a lot to do with his visibility, not visibility, but with his deals, his recent deals. Because, you know, we live in that age, that social media age where you got to be visible. People
Yeah.
got to know who you are. They got to know where to find you. They got to know that when they reach out to you, you're going to reach back. So there's that.
It's very important for celebrities, and I think everyone's slowly starting to realize that.
Yeah, most definitely. So, I want to talk a little before we get into Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation. I wanted to let our listeners and our viewers know that we here at Black Tomatoes are going to do a little giveaway.
Very nice.
We're going to do a little giveaway, and it is some trinkets, some things that I got at, you know, some press conferences and things that I think the kiddies might like. And it also involves a code to play the Hotel Transylvania 3 game on an Xbox or any video game platform of your choice. So we will put that up afterwards, and you know, whoever comments to us in the chat room and says the most about the show wins the package. How about that?
There you go.
There you go. All right, so let's talk about Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation. I already know. I loved Hotel Transylvania 2. It was a lot of fun. It was really, really kitschy fun. And I love the fact that they made Dracula into an animated character. However, I saw this review of Hotel Transylvania 3 online, and I think it pretty much sums it up. Blah, blah, blah.
Oh, my God, you used it.
I
And it
did.
was our good friend, Scott Menzel, who said that
did.
in his Forbes review. And I was going to say the exact same thing.
I did.
Blah, blah, blah.
It was blah, blah, blah. I mean, there were some things about it that were fun. Like, I love the fact that they had, you know, Drac having a little, that he was trying to find, that the premise of the film was that he was trying to find love and all that entailed, and it made how awkward he was and how they had him going on Tinder, like the monster version of Tinder. It was cute.
That was weird to me, though, right?
I thought that was funny.
Because from, like, I know they were trying to do that from an adult standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
like to make the adults interested in the story. But I think that's why the movie didn't work for me, because it's like there was so much focus on that, and there wasn't enough on like the kids stuff this time around. It was like too much of like the love story. And I'm kind of like, that's not what these kids want when they go see this type of movie. They care more about Mavis. They want like the silly antics. And I feel like that was really missing from this movie.
I think, and this is what I said when I reviewed it. You know, I didn't care for it a whole lot. Like, it was cute and kitschy, and there were things about it that I thought were funny. But those types of films aren't made for us. They're made for kids.
Right.
So I think that anybody under the age of 12 will really enjoy it. I think anybody over the age of 12, not so much.
Yeah. It was really hard for me to watch this one because the first two movies, I'm not going to say they were great movies by any stretch of the imagination, but they were entertaining. They were fun, and I feel like they really spoke to the target audience. With this one, I feel like it was just one note. It was very bland. It was very boring. It's like, okay, we're going to go on a summer vacation. We're going to have a love story. And the only thing that was redeeming for me about this movie was the last like 10 to 15 minutes of the movie where they did that DJ off scene, because I just thought the music was the best part of the movie. That's where I feel like the energy was really high, and then it was a lot of fun. But the rest of it, it felt like more of the same and lazy. And I feel bad saying it, but that's just how I felt about it.
Okay, so I would give it 2 tomatoes, which is really harsh for me.
Yes, it is.
I would give it 2 tomatoes because, like I said, I don't think Hotel Transylvania, any part of the franchise, is made for adults. It's made for kids. So because because I am an adult,
Yes.
I'm like, not so much.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, too.
All right. So the next one I want to talk about, which I cannot wait to talk about, is this film called Eighth Grade, which is slaying at the box office right now, as I mentioned earlier. This is the thing that I loved about Eighth Grade. It taps into what most of us as children at that age go through. And for me personally, it tapped into all those things of that awkwardness of when you're a kid, like what that's about when you're a girl, especially that awkwardness of getting the courage to talk to a boy. I love the fact that there was theme music. Every time she looked at him, there was this really loud, crazy music every time she saw Aiden. I love the fact that she went off on that girl at the end. I was like, yes, she did what every 8th grader in the world probably wanted to do to somebody that's mean to them. I love the relationship between her and her dad.
Oh, yeah.
I think that her dad had the patience of Job, because that child, she's a lot.
I know.
She's a lot. I love the fact that she went and she hung out with the high schoolers to try to be cool. What I don't love is how that kind of like backfired on her. And so that was like, oh man, that backfired on you. I'm so sad. That made me really sad that backfired on her. But what I did love was the fact that she had enough common sense to just say no and not let him talk her into something else. Like, she said no, and when he tried to like play that head game with her to go, okay, maybe, she was like, no, I don't want to. I just don't want to do that right now. And then she said, please don't tell Olivia. And so I wonder, whatever happened with Olivia? Did she ever contact Olivia again? Like, what story did her friend tell Olivia about Kayla? You know what I mean?
This film, I that scene is very hard to watch in this movie. I want to.
It was very uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
It was very uncomfortable.
It reminded me of the first season of 13 Reasons Why, where like they didn't really show anything in that show, but just the reactions and knowing what was really happening or what was about to happen just really worked. And I think that there's something to be said about that. You don't always have to show something. You don't always have to have graphics. Just kind of hinting upon it.
Well,
works a lot.
What I loved about what they did is that the uncomfortableness and the awkwardness in the dialogue is what made it effective.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
And I think the other thing that the other issue that is brought about in this film is when they show her constantly being on her phone. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how I had some guests here, and my friend's daughter, that's all she did was be on her phone. She said less than 10 words the whole time she was here, and she was in my house for 10 days. She said 10 words the whole time she was there. It was just like Kayla does in the movie. Yes, 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 over and over and over again. Leave me alone. Why are you bothering? Like that kind of stuff. And it speaks to that this generation is so plugged in that they don't know how to plug into their social graces. That for that reason alone, every parent I know should take their kid to see that movie.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Bo Burnham directed this. He wrote this. And this is an incredible script because it feels natural. It feels very true to life. He didn't try to dumb it down. He uses the whatever, like everything that just felt natural. There was no cut. Like, let's redo that scene. It just felt like you were watching this girl, Kayla. You were watching her go through her last week of 8th grade. And all the questions, all the fears about going into high school became a reality. And I think that's why so many people are resonating with this movie.
Absolutely.
Is that you feel a level of authenticity from this movie.
Absolutely.
That you just don't see. And I do have to point out, too, we've seen so many coming-of-age movies. I mean, last year we raved about Lady Bird, which was great.
I'm glad you brought that up, yeah.
But this is a great movie that actually takes place in middle school. Very rare for a movie to take place in middle school.
And it's an awkward part of life for all kids. So, yeah, that kudos to them for that. Kudos to both for working that out. I give this 5 tomatoes straight up.
Oh yeah, this is like I'm gonna go a little just because I don't want to give that 5 yet. I'm gonna
come
go
on,
4.5. Sorry.
Whatever,
I know.
whatever.
It's still one of my favorite movies of the year. It's like
outta
this
here.
and Won't You Be My Neighbor.
Get outta here.
Did I give Won't You Be My Neighbor a 5? I
don't
did.
know.
I don't know.
No, I don't think you did. I
Oh,
don't think you did. But so having said that,
Yes.
when Scott was out last week,
Yes.
we had a special guest come into the studio earlier this week, and his name is Omar Epps. I'm so excited. So Omar is in a film called Traffik, which gets released on DVD on July 17th, this upcoming Tuesday. So there's that. And he has a book called From Fatherless to Fatherhood. So there's that. And I chatted with him for, a little bit about that. So let's roll that interview in a few seconds until that comes up.
Yep.
We talked about a whole bunch of things, but the one thing that we talked about that I thought was really awesome, he watches this show.
Does he really?
He loves Black Tomatoes.
Wow.
He told me that he loves Black Tomatoes and that he watches it. He's like, you do it with a white guy, right? I'm like, oh. No worries,
Okay.
that's fine.
It was all a dream.
Hey, it's Biggie in the house, and that's not all I got in the house. I got my special guest. His name is Omar Epps. Hey, y'all, this is Carla Renata with Black Tomatoes. We have a special guest in the house to celebrate the DVD release of Traffik, directed by Dion Taylor on July 17th. Welcome to Black Hollywood Live and Black Tomatoes, Mr. Omar Epps.
How you doing?
I'm great. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
Great. So let's just jump right into it. But before we do that, I fooled you tonight. So I was saying to you off camera real briefly that I will be doing a Q&A, moderating a Q&A with John Singleton over the weekend for the celebration of poetic justice, which is really weird because not only are we celebrating the 25th anniversary of poetic justice, but July 12th, actually today, when we're taping the show in 1981, is when Boys in the Hood premiered in theaters around the world.
Wow.
So I know that you had a relationship with Tupac, and I'm just interested to know, when you think about Tupac and poetic justice, what runs across your mind?
Brilliant. I thought that performance was brilliant. The movie was great. Salute to John Singleton. He's still doing his thing. Love the show Snowfall.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So
On
it's
FX.
Just, it's just a magical time it takes me back to, but I was really inspired by poetic justice. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the real reason that you're here today is not to talk about poetic justice of Boys in the Hood, but it is to talk about your film Traffik, which came out a few months ago, and it's being released on DVD and Blu-ray on July 17th. I reviewed it here at Black Tomatoes, which you told me on the air. I was so excited that you saw it. I'm like, yay. And I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it for a couple of reasons. One was because Paula Patton wasn't the heroine who is in peril,
Right.
waiting for the man to save her. That's
Right.
one of the reasons why I loved it. I love the fact that Rosalind Sanchez did not mind getting dirtied up or uglied up for her role, because usually, and I hate to say this, but usually the women that are that beautiful really have issues uglying up for a role, and I really appreciate the fact that she went with her artistry and did her job as an actress and acted.
Right.
And the other reason that I really loved it is that it sheds a light on trafficking around the country with young women.
Right.
But I really wanted to know your thoughts about how you feel about young kids being trafficked. Not trafficked, but we're dealing right now in our country with a situation where
Right.
children are being separated from their parents and the whole immigration thing. So I just wanted to see what your thoughts were about all of that.
I mean, as far as that, it's just horrible. I wish that the powers that be just had a more compassion. We understand that immigration has been an issue in our country for years and years, but I think there's a certain level of compassion that doesn't seem to exist right now in this time, in this administration. And, you pray for these people. When you put kids into a system, foster system, whatever, it's a very big beast.
Absolutely.
So you're talking about, it's potential that some of these kids will never be reunited with their parents. And just that thought in of itself is horrible, So I'm just, I pray for those people.
And as a young father yourself, how are you adjusting to fatherhood?
you just, well, I'm not too young of a father. I mean, my oldest is 19. I got a 14-year-old and I got a 10-year-old. So
Well, I guess
I'm kinda,
you've
yeah,
been in there for a minute.
I've
Okay.
been in there for a minute. We come into this next phase of my fatherhood, which is it's always, fatherhood to me is like life. It goes in phases. So now that my oldest is 19, I've never been the father of a 19-year-old, so I got to figure this out. And then,
Well, yeah, it doesn't come with a handbook, huh?
no, it certainly doesn't.
No, it does not come with a handbook. You got to figure out those early formative ages, what to teach them, how to
Right.
teach them right from wrong. And then when they get into those teen years, those early to late teens where they think they know more than you,
Yeah.
you have to try to navigate,
Have to try.
It's the key phrase.
Key phrase. Try, because
See,
they
now,
think they know it all.
I'm not a parent, but I am a daughter, and I know I gave my mama the rah-rahs when I was that age. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's all good. And I think that's just natural. Normal kids get around that age. You think you got it figured out, and then you get into your 20s, and once you get in the mid-20s, you're like, oh, I didn't have it figured out, and it's just a process. It's just it's life. It's life. So take it with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
But you said something that I think is really important. Those formative years are vital. Because
Absolutely.
you can't get those back, and it really is where that bond is formed between the parent and child.
Mm-hmm.
So when people ask me sometimes, young dudes are like, you got any advice? I'm about to be a father. I'm like, be present, be active, but really pay attention in those first couple of years. That's really pay attention and just bond with your kid.
Yeah, my mother, okay, so this is probably way TMI, but the other day I was about to do something where I had hunched my back over to make my way to that situation, and my mother laughed, and she laughed for like 5 minutes. I'm like, what? My mother lives with me. I'm her caretaker. So she laughed for like 5 minutes. I'm like, well, what are you laughing at? And she's like, oh my God, you used to do that when you were 2 years old.
That's funny.
And I just thought that, now that I'm a grown woman taking care of her, that she still finds humor in things that she remembers about me as a child.
Right.
What kind of memory do you have of yourself as a child that maybe
Of myself? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. I have great memories of childhood.
like something that's kind of comical.
Comical?
That you look back on and you go, oh, I can't believe I did that.
Oh, I mean, well, there's a list of that. That's, got whoopings for half of those things, but
Didn't we all?
yeah, like when they used to have the sweepstakes, they still have them.
Oh yeah.
But and this just came to me, but they would come to the door and
Publishing house.
Yeah, publishing house. And like just don't open the door, don't
Like
take
the
no-
lottery. Mm-hmm.
And they sold me. I was
Oh,
probably like
no.
8, 9, and was just like, yeah, we're gonna win. And I filled out all these subscriptions and all that stuff. My mom is
I know
like,
your
why are we
mama
getting
wanted
these
to whoop
things in the
your
mail?
butt.
Yeah. Well, I got my butt whipped for it.
I know she was like, boy, we ain't got all this money. What you doing?
Right.
Ooh, that is hilarious. Well, speaking of fatherhood, again, you have a book that's available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon called From Fatherless to Fatherhood.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about how you came to writing that, what was the impetus for writing that, and what would you like people to know about being fatherless to fatherhood?
Well, I had a moment with my son years ago that caused me to reflect and question whether having grown up without a father somehow crept into my fatherhood. Mm-hmm. And so I began this exploration of self. And midway through, I realized, like, wow, maybe my story could be used as a tool of inspiration to others.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, I'm trying to put my story out there to change the narrative on fatherhood in our community. Now, we certainly have made a lot of great strides, but, I'm in the street. It's still a lot of cats not taking care of their kids, right? And these kids are growing up with these issues, and then they get to a point where they're making bad decisions and so forth and so on. And even if you do something, with yourself in life, you carrying around this emotional baggage. So I want it to be where it's not cool if you're not holding down your kid. Like if we all in a barbershop, and we all friends, and we know dude ain't, being a responsible father, you can't
That's not okay.
That's not okay. And you know, one of the main things I want people to take away from the book is the power of choice. So even that dude, if he went wayward from his path, he still has the power of choice to get back on. You know, and that's, you know, that's the truth.
Okay. All right. I know that Hill Harper has a book where he's been inspiring younger men that are a little bit older in choices, as you mentioned with your book. When it comes to being a father, and when it comes to being someone that was fatherless,
Right.
what is the best thing you take away from growing up without a father, and what is the worst thing you take away from growing up without a dad?
Honestly, I don't think there's a best thing that you take away, because it's a void that'll never be filled for the rest of my life. I took away, you know, the obvious. You know, sometimes you hear people like, well, maybe if your father was in your life, you wouldn't be who you are. You wouldn't be, you know. And I look at it like, well, we don't know that. You know?
No, we don't.
Maybe I'd be smarter. Maybe I'd be more
Maybe be a
successful.
scientist.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you never know.
But we rationalize our trauma so that we can move on. But I think you know, growing up a fatherless child is your takeaways are all negative. You know, these.
You think?
Yeah, because it affects your self-esteem. It can affect your self-esteem. It can affect your sense of self-worth. You know, I had an incredible mother. My mother's my superwoman, and she's the reason.
They all are, dude.
She's the reason why I'm here. But
Absolutely.
these are things that, as men, you know, and I know a lot of brothers who grew up without a father, who haven't gotten to unpack these things, these issues. You have emotional issues at certain points. You might have that might spill into your relationships, you know, and what the meaning of family is to you in terms of structure.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot that personally I think it's a box of negatives that you take away, you know, when you're growing up as a fatherless child. Now the opportunities and what you can do with your life, that's on you.
Yeah. You know, I didn't grow up fatherless, but my dad was in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So he wasn't there a lot.
Right.
So it was basically all on my mom. Right. And I found that me growing up with a father who was there in the sense of being, for all practical purposes of being a father, he was there, but he kind of wasn't there. Right. And what I found with me is that it started to affect the types of relationships I would have with men, or how I would navigate my relationships with men. So that's why I asked you what I asked you, because I know for every individual, no matter how they come to that subject, it's different for everyone. Yeah. So yeah, I just want to.
And it was also, you know, in my bloodline, you know, it was a cycle. You know, so I took it on from a young age. Like, all right, whatever I make of myself. I knew I was going to be successful at whatever, whether
right.
it was a teacher or this or that, but you know, I'm going to make something of my life. And as I, you know, got into my early 20s before I had kids, I was like, all right, the buck's going to stop with me, like in my bloodline.
I know that's right.
You know, I'm going to put it down and once I have children and all of that, and hopefully the men that come after, now they got something, a bar to look at and say, okay, this is what we do.
Now, what about your daughters? How are you going to help them in terms of having someone that's there? How are you going to help navigate their relationships in life, having a father there as opposed to not?
With their relationships? I ain't ready for all of that just yet.
You got the shotgun? You ready to get on the porch with the shotgun?
They never going to be with nobody ever.
Ooh, you are funny. My dad used to tease all the time that the minute I had a date, he was going to be on the front porch with a shotgun waiting. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah. It's, you know, and obviously every father wants their daughter to, you know, choose the right person. But it's like anything else. It's an exploration. They have to, you know, the more they learn themselves as individuals and exude that energy, hopefully that, you know, I want both of my daughters to be with a great man when it's that time. You know, when they choosing to settle down, have a family, I want that person to be great. I want to, you know, be proud of who that man is.
What's your definition of a great man?
Is there a definition?
No.
Well, someone who, first and foremost, someone who moves from a space of love, someone who is kind, considerate, smart. For me, you can believe what you will, but for someone who believes in God, whatever the belief system is fine, but they believe in supreme being. I think if they had those qualities, you know,
wouldn't be out on the front porch with the shotgun.
I might put the shotgun by the knee.
You got jokes. And while we're laughing, let's just talk about something that I found out about you that I he'd about, and I just have to know how it happened. You were a backup dancer for Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, so I was filming my first film, Juice, and Latifah was in the film, and what happened at the time, I was in a singing group, 5-man singing group called Vision, and she had some group, I forget the name, but she would be playing their demo, and they had signed this group. So I'm a young cocky kid, I'm, you know, and I'm like, man, my guys, we'll blow them out the water, and she was like, what? And we didn't have any music at the time, so we sang for her in the stairwell of that where we filmed that scene.
Wow.
And she just was so moved, like, oh my God, you guys sound so good, and you know, I'm going on tour, and and then within the group we had our little audition because she only take 3, and then I ended up being one of the 3, and the rest is history.
Well, look at you.
Yeah, went
Who
on tour
knew?
with Queen Latifah.
You got skills as a singer. I heard you got skills as a composer too.
Composer as far as music? Yeah, here and there. I dabble.
What did you compose, Omar Epps?
I did some things. What did you look up?
I want you to tell me.
You tell me.
I know what I looked up.
What did you look up?
Well, I looked up that you have been friends with Marlon Wayans since childhood.
Yep.
And that you composed the theme song for his sitcom.
Not solely. That was a team effort.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you had a little something to do with that, yeah?
A little something.
So how you get involved with that? So you vocalizing, you acting, and now you composing. How did you end up composing?
I mean, that's just what we do. I'm an artist, so we've been, messing with music and all of that stuff.
Child, please, ain't nobody walking around here composing theme songs.
Well, you saying
Come on
composing?
now.
I mean, it's if you produce a song, and and we were just playing around, and I didn't even. That was a surprise for me because it wasn't like this is what we're trying to do. We literally were just at his crib, and a couple of us playing around with some stuff, and he took it and was like, all right, we're using this for the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump back into the future, or in the present, I should say. You're in season 3 of Shooter on USA. When
Yeah.
does that drop?
It came out now. I think, matter of fact, tonight, I think, is episode 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you're enjoying your time on that show as well?
Love it. Having so much fun doing that show, and hopefully, knock on wood, we get a season 4.
Okay. And what can we look for from your character in this season?
Well, my character, if you saw the end of season 2, he basically loses everything that he loves. So when you meet him in season 3, I call him he's a broken samurai. He's just a man on fire, and he's out for vengeance. So that's where the character's at when you meet him.
Okay. So I would be remiss in talking about your TV career without pointing out the fact that you have done 21 episodes of Resurrection. You've done 174 episodes as Dr. Eric on House.
Yeah.
And you did 10 episodes as Dr. Dennis on ER. So, dude, you are killing it. You're composing, you're singing, you're acting, you're a father, you're writing books. What is it that you don't know how to do?
A lot. I don't know how to do most things.
Oh, right. I don't think that that's the case. You are the new millennial Renaissance man, I'd like to call you.
I'll take it.
You'll take that?
All right.
Cool. So we're going to wrap this up. Is there anything else that you'd like for your listeners and your fans and the listeners of Black Tomatoes and BHL to know?
I just really wanted, I self-published the book, by the way.
Oh.
So, people get out there and support the boy. It's on Amazon.com, BarnesandNobles.com, and I hope they enjoy the book.
I'm sure that they will. And where can they find you on social media?
Oh, at Omar Epps.
Everywhere?
Everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm there.
Thank you, Omar.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for coming and joining us at Black Tomatoes.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I love the fact that you were here, but I really love talking about you being backup dancer for Queen Latifah because that made me laugh out loud. That made my day. This is Carla Renata for Black Tomatoes on Black Hollywood Live. We'd like to give a special shout out and thank you to Mr. Omar Epps for joining us to talk about Traffik, his new book From Fatherless to Fatherhood, which is at Barnes & Nobles and Amazon.com, which he self-published. He is already out there on season 3 of Shooter on the USA Network, and I think that does it. So we're going to finish with the rest of the show right now, but okay, I'll see y'all later. Bye. That was fantabulous.
It was.
I loved having
Great
him as
job.
a guest here. Thank you. I love having him as a guest here. So thank you, Omar. I love you. Mean it. And special shout out to Tiaka for making that happen. Thank you, girl. I love you. So let's continue with the show.
Sure.
Next up on the schedule is Skyscraper.
Skyscraper.
With Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Now, I love me some Dwayne Johnson.
Yes.
I love me some Rock.
Yep.
And I loved me some Skyscraper. The only issue that I had with Skyscraper is that it felt a lot like another thriller, high octane action adventure movie that's having its 25th anniversary this year. Die Hard.
30th. Today.
Today. Okay.
Today.
I knew I was close.
Yep.
It reminded me so much of Die Hard with like a mixed family and everything. Let's take a looky look, if we could, at the trailer real fast.
FBI, show me your hands.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Just a little nervous.
Wow, you look very handsome.
I just don't want to screw it up, you know?
You have been preparing for this meeting for 6 months. You've got this.
Let me ask you guys a question. Daddy loves who?
Me.
Daddy loves who?
Me!
Exactly. Daddy's gonna go make that bacon.
Gross.
And Daddy made that bacon.
He sure did.
Yes, he
Daddy
did.
made a lot of bacon.
Daddy made that bacon. You know, it underperformed.
Very much so.
Grossly to everyone's surprise and dismay.
I was shocked that this movie made less money than Rampage.
It made less money than Hotel Transylvania 3.
Well, no, that did not that did not surprise me because
It made less money, rather. I'm sorry.
Never underestimate the power of family films. That's
Clearly,
what you
that's
should
what the
know.
message is here.
Yes,
That's what the message
but
is here.
the fact that this movie did less than Rampage is shocking to me because I thought this was the movie that was going to make a ton of money. I think the studio thought this movie was going to make a ton of money. I'm shocked. I really am. I'm also shocked that the movie got really mixed reviews.
I'm not shocked by that because, like I said, if I thought it looked like Die Hard on a really extremely tall skyscraper, then I'm not the only person that thought that. But this is what I did like. I did like that it was a mixed family. I did like the fact that there wasn't a big deal made about the fact that it was a mixed family. I love the fact that he played a disabled vet. I love the fact that there wasn't a whole big deal made out of that either. I love the fact that his wife was a badass, that his wife wasn't sitting back waiting to come rescue them out of the skyscraper. She was like, look, here's some towels, work it out. you know what I mean? She was like, here you go, work it out. We gonna get up out of here. You know, we're not gonna wait for daddy, but here you go. I loved all of that. And I love The Rock. I love Dwayne Johnson. I do. I think it speaks to extraordinarily to his character that he can take a career like wrestling and turn it into what he has now. That's amazing. And not everybody can do that.
No, he's incredibly charismatic. He's charming. He has that on-screen presence.
He has it. Yes,
he does. And he's an action movie star. It really is. And that's what kind of bummed me out about this movie because I was hoping that this was going to do gangbusters at the box office because I can see this becoming his own franchise. Like it could be like the new Die Hard. And the funny thing is that there is no secret behind this movie. They said that it was going to be the Die Hard meets Towering Inferno. They made spoof posters about it.
That's exactly what it was.
So that was no surprise at all. And I feel like it's cheesy. It's a lot of fun. It's like an action movie that we just don't see anymore. This was a movie that, I remember growing up with movies like this in the 70s and 80s and even in the early 90s where those big disaster movies, these high concept ideas. And they just don't make them anymore. Everything is about like sequels and spin-offs, and it was nice to kind of see a homage to the early days of action blockbusters. And I really loved Dwayne Johnson in this movie. And kudos to you for bringing this up. But Neve Campbell kicked some major ass.
Yes, she
I
did.
miss seeing her on the big screen.
I've never seen her do a role like this because
No.
usually she plays something completely different. And there was something else that I liked. I liked the fact that they embraced technology where we are now.
Yes.
You know, when they had those panels coming up where you couldn't tell who was where, kind of like the fun house, the mirrors in the fun house, but on a whole grand technological level. I kind of loved that. I love that you could control a whole building with a tablet. I love that
Yes.
because I'm secretly, techno geek.
Because,
so.
but that's how it is. That's how the world is now. You know.
But I love that. I love that they incorporated that because a lot of movies don't. I love the fact that they incorporated that. So
what didn't you like about it? I'm curious.
I didn't like the fact that it felt like Die Hard meets Towering Inferno. I didn't like that for whatever reason. I just didn't like that.
That didn't bother me. What bothered me about this movie, and I think this is a lot of the criticism this movie is getting, is that the villains in this movie are incredibly weak. I feel
I wouldn't
like
call them weak, but they're not
memorable.
I wouldn't even say that. Well, I guess memorable could go in the same vein as they're not like anything. We've seen those type of villains before.
Yes.
We've seen this. That actually did annoy me. It annoyed me that they had a female Asian kick-ass villain, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
That was annoying. We had the guy with an accent. We have a guy with an accent that's always a villain. Like, really?
Yes,
So
yes.
that actually did kind of annoy me. But I will give it. If I had to give it a grand scale of tomatoes, I would give it a 4.
Same. I can't believe this.
I can't.
Yes.
We are like we here.
Yeah, we're synced today.
We here.
Yes.
We here. So while we in the action lane, let's
Sure.
talk real quickly about my favorite movie of the week, Mission Impossible Fallout. Now, this is what I'll say. I've said this here before, and I will say it again. Tom Cruise is a bona fide movie
Yes,
star.
he is.
He is a movie star. He is the only movie star that I can think of, and I could be wrong, other than like Denzel Washington. He is the only movie star, other than Denzel Washington, that people will go and watch him in a movie on name and face recognition alone. He can sell a movie on name, and all you have to say is Tom Cruise stars, or Denzel Washington is, Denzel Washington stars. People will go see the movie. They don't care what the movie's about. They just want to see Denzel or Tom Cruise. Having said that, Tom Cruise has resurrected that whole Mission Impossible franchise and kicked major action adventure booty butt with it. I've seen all 6 of them. This was the best one in the franchise to me. I could not catch my breath. I needed a cocktail, a spa visit, a massage, or something after I saw this movie. I was a wreck. And I was talking at the screen, which I
Yeah.
never do, but I was talking at the screen at this one because I was like, really? Did that just happen? Ask Scott Menzel. I was sitting next to him and I was talking to the screen. I know I annoyed the hell out of him. But I was like, oh my God. It's like, I could not catch my breath. And I love the fact that Tom Cruise is in his 50s still scaling rocks and mountains and hanging out of helicopters. Child, I would be in traction 100 times over if I tried to do that. I love him. I can't say enough about him.
Tom Cruise is action. I mean,
Yeah, he
that
is.
man is action. The fact that, like you said, I think he's 55 years old, and that he does his own stunts in every movie still. And I'm not talking about some pansy stunts. I mean, these are like some epic, like, holy.
I mean, my dude he was scaling a wall with his fingernails and his toes. I'm like, I cannot.
Well, the
even.
running, like all the chase sequences.
Chasing in Paris.
Yeah.
Like with the girl on the motorcycle. Oh, I can't. Oh, and the villains in this film. Let's just talk about that. Let's just talk about, I think her name is Vanessa Kirby, who was the
Yes,
the white widow.
From The Crown.
Yes. And I think his name is Sean Allen, who played Solomon.
Sean.
I think his name is Sean
something
Allen.
like that. Yeah.
But
yeah. Sean Harris.
Sean Harris. I knew his first name was Sean.
Yep.
But they were major. Vanessa was giving me like Kim Basinger, LA Confidential goodness.
Yes,
as
yes,
the White
she
Widow.
was really good.
She was giving me all of that. I feel like that whole cast was right on the money. There wasn't a weak link anywhere in that movie casting wise. I was like, I loved it. I can't say enough
but
about
you did
it.
say and I remember we had a conversation after the movie. Henry Cavill a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
He was a little off at times.
Okay, this is what I did like about
Okay.
him. What I did like about Henry is that Henry, I hadn't really seen much of Henry's stuff since he was Superman. So it was nice to see him be mean, because Superman's not mean.
No.
So it was nice to see him play a villain. What I did say, I didn't say that I didn't like him. I said I knew that he was going to be the villain because when he first started talking, his acting was so bad that I'm like, he has to be the villain because he's trying too hard to make us think he's not the villain.
Right.
That's what I
right.
said.
Yeah, I mean, going into this, I agree with you. I think this franchise is so special because it's entertaining. It's really smartly written. There's a lot of twists and turns. The movie at times I felt was a little bit too predictable, this one. But there was enough there where I felt like some of the surprises
Scott
really were.
Menzel.
There was some of those moments.
I'm giving you the hand.
But listen, Tom Cruise, man, this franchise belongs to him. And I mean, he is just he is epic. And Rebecca Ferguson, who we've now seen in Greatest Showman, who we've seen in the last Mission Impossible film, Rogue Nation, she is going places. Cast this woman and everything. Just give her every script.
Oh, and I forgot to mention Angela Bassett.
Oh yeah,
Angela Bassett was
great in this
literally
movie.
the
Yes,
boss
yes.
in this movie.
And-
the boss.
And Simon Pegg has a way of
Oh, he
playing
was
all
great.
these characters.
He was
And
great.
he knows, he picks them. He's in, the Star Trek franchise.
He's great.
He's in this. He's so
I'm
on
saying
it.
the casting was the bomb diggity.
Yeah.
And Ving Rhames
Yeah,
was right
Ving
up in,
Rhames is great.
Ving Rhames was
I
right
loved
up
a little
in
bit of emotion that happened between his
there.
character.
And was that Michelle Monaghan?
Yes, yeah.
So him and Michelle Monaghan had that nice scene. That was a really nice scene.
Yes, it was.
I was like, aw. And then we were back to business as usual.
Yes, of course.
and I liked the scene where they were fighting in the cabin.
Yes.
That gave me agita. I was like, I cannot with that scene right there where he was dangling. I'm like, I can't.
What really stands out about this franchise that I think everyone's pointing out is that we live in the time where everything is CGI, everything is fake. And to
wasn't nothing fake about that.
See this movie, to see Tom Cruise actually do these stunts, to hang off the side of a building, to climb on a freaking airplane or a helicopter, to see all that and know that it's not green screen. There's something special about that.
Yeah, it
and
was.
I think that's the reason why, people can say, how can this movie be as good as everyone's saying it is? It's because when we're so used to seeing action movies, and whether it's Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC Cinematic Universe, or even Skyscraper, for example, the thing is, that's fake. But watching this and know that there's no green screen involved, that real actors are doing this stunt work, it's amazing to watch.
It was mind-boggling. It really was. So how many tomatoes would you give it, Scott?
4.
I knew you were going to say, I give it 5.
There you
Five,
go.
five, five,
There you
five,
go.
5 tomatoes. 5 tomatoes for my boy Tom
Tom Cruise
Cruise.
Tom Cruise gets 5. The movie gets 4.
Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible Fallout. It opens in theaters on July 27th. Y'all do not want to miss this movie.
And I will say that both these action movies that we just talked about need to be seen on a really big screen.
Yeah, go to the IMAX
Right.
theater and see
Yes.
it. It will wreck. Look, I'm telling you, if I'm just forewarning you and giving you the heads up
Vertigo?
now. If you go see it,
Yeah.
you're gonna get a little bit of vertigo. But I'm just saying, if you can go to an IMAX theater where they serve cocktails, you might want to have one close by because it's gonna wreck your nerves and it's gonna take your breath away. So I think that just about does it for us.
Yes.
We talked about a lot.
This was a very fun episode.
It
Really
was a
in depth.
jam-packed show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next week you're going to be at Comic-Con.
Yes.
What do you know of any films that are going to be premiering there? That we
They're
can look out
doing
for?
the Teen Titans Go is going to have a
Oh, that's
premiere
coming out
there.
next
They're
week,
doing
yeah.
a celebration of Nightmare Before Christmas, which I'm hopefully going to go to. And I don't know what the big movie is. We've been trying to predict what this big movie, because every
They
year
always
at
have a
Comic
big
Con
one, yeah.
there's always one.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is yet.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's going to be the Meg, the WB
shark
movie.
movie,
Yeah,
mhm.
because I feel like that kind of fits
Fits
down
with
there.
Comic-Con. Yeah. Okay. Well, That does it for us in this edition of Black Tomatoes. Next week, Scott will be at Comic-Con in San Diego. Maybe he'll see you there.
That's right. Say hi if you're in town, say hi.
I will be here holding down the fort at Black Tomatoes, where I will have special guest hosts from the LA Times, Travell Anderson, joining me. And we will be discussing Mamma Mia, Equalizer 2 with my boy Denzel Washington, Blind Spotting, and the new documentary about fashion designer Alexander McQueen. And you can find me across all social media platforms at the Curvy Critic. Don't forget to go over to iTunes, give us those 5 stars, shout us out, talk to us on YouTube. We love when you connect with us. And where can we find you, Scott?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the other Scott M. You can go to WeLiveEntertainment.com to read my written reviews and my interviews. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Till the next time. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all. Bye.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in. The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.